Okay. Close this. Minimize this. Share screen. Okay. Chat over here. Okay. Mute. No, I am not muted. Can anyone hear me? I just want to make sure I'm coming over clearly here. If you are logged in now, can you just let me know if I am clear? I don't have anybody else with me today. It is just me, so I want to make sure. All right, perfect. Thank you, Mason. All right. There will be no video of me today. So can you see the screen? Just the PowerPoint that's up, Mason? Just let me know. I will be progressing it along. All right, perfect. So we're a little bit early. Everyone that's tuned in, we're going to get rocking and rolling. Probably in about 10 minutes, I'll be back. I'll say, hey, here I am again, guys. And we'll let everyone sign in and we'll start right exactly. Phil, my man, you're here. Great. I'm glad it worked out, Phil. Let's do this together. All right. So in about 10 minutes, we're going to come back and we're going to get rocking and rolling. And let's do this. All right, everybody. We're about less than 15 minutes out. Back here now. I see a lot of people filtering on in. Ugh. So if you have any questions, I'll reiterate this again as we have more attendees tuning in. But if you have any questions, just shoot them off in the chat box. If you want to say anything, introduce yourself to me or anybody in here, feel free to do it. I'm going to probably type some things in there as well. Not 100% sure if I want to do that yet. I want to see how the webinar is going, how many people are coming on in, if I want to run a poll or not, but we'll figure it out as it progresses. I'm going to leave a good amount of time for some Q&A at the end. I want to leave between 15 and 10 minutes for some Q&A at the end because I'm sure some of you might have a lot of questions. So if you do have a question, all I ask is, wait till around the 40-minute mark to start asking them. When I get to the Q&A in the end, if people were asking questions in the beginning and then more questions come in. Yeah, all us muted. I'm on a roadside detail. Okay. Justin, yeah, just type it in the chat. I can't hear anybody, obviously. I don't control that on the administrative end. But if you do have a question, type it in the chat and I'll get to it. Just what I ask is if you type it in the beginning, then I have to scroll back. I might not get to it at the end. So, but thank you for tuning in while you're on a side detail, man. This is glad for the enthusiasm. If you're tuned in already, just maybe kill some time. Let me know where you're from. I know my good buddy Phil is in here from the great island of Curacao. So we got international partners tuned in today as well. So Tennessee. All right. We're going to be, I'm sure you know, we're going to be in Nashville for the Street Cop 2023 conference. It's going to be very exciting for that. We'll see who makes it out alive from that one. Mason from Knoxville. Awesome, man. Tennessee representing. Yes, Kenny Williams, the Red Ninja. He will be there. He'll be ready to take over Nashville. So I'm not going to have as intriguing videos as Kenny has in his class for this webinar. In fact, I don't have any videos just because I've come to learn videos within PowerPoints on live webinars don't really go over well in terms of the audio and things of that nature. But I do have a lot of bad jokes for you, so I hope you're ready to laugh. All right, 17 people. We got tuned in. We had over yeah, believe it or not, we had a lot of people, I think upwards of 200 register for today. So I'm curious to see how many people actually wind up filtering their way in. Massachusetts, excellent. What part of Massachusetts, Justin? Our instructor, Tommy Brooks, is a Massachusetts native. here. Get it to you. All right, I see more people are filtering their way in here. Again, we're going to get started exactly at 2 o'clock. So if you want to just shoot out where you're from, tune it in today. Love to hear it. We had over 200 people registered, so it's curious to see. Central right now, Western Massachusetts for my full time, and Central for my part time. Awesome. So I traverse myself up to Massachusetts during the summer. My family owns my in-laws, I should say, have property in Martha's Vineyard. It's not like that. It's not the Kennedy compound, but we do like to summer on the vineyard per se, as they say it up there. All right, PA, Pennsylvania. I am from northwestern Jersey. That's where I'm coming into you live from right now. So not too far from PA. Crossville, Tennessee. So we got a lot. Oh no, Kobe, you already. Oh wait, timeout. That's to Mason. Okay, Crossville. So we got Tennessee representing Knoxville. Oh, Central NY. Jason, great. Great. We will be up in White Plains on June 14th through the 16th or something for the intelligence conference that's up there. Myself, Nick German, and Kenny Williams. We're doing a 3-day thing up there. Cook County, Illinois. That's great. My wife's family, they're from Wilmette, right? They Wisconsin. Bradley, I will be in Wisconsin on June 7th in Osseo. I'm actually staying in Eau Claire. As I pronounce it, Eau Claire. I'm staying there, so it's a 25-minute drive. Wilmette, great. Bill Murray was also from Wilmette. My mother-in-law's family grew up with the Murrays. That's pretty cool. Hamburg, New York, south of Buffalo. You're up there, man. You're closer to Canada than anywhere else, really, I would say. That's great. I'm happy we have a lot of people tuning in today. All right, we got more people filtering on in. Again, we're going to start exactly at 2, so we got about 5 minutes to go. Trying to think, Christopher Harvey. I'm trying to think, what's that beef place that begins with a P? Portello's or something? They're known for that beef. Yep, bingo. All right, I knew you would know it. Yeah, that's something that my mother-in-law has to get when she's out there. That and Lou Malnati's pizza. I know their famous deep dish, Lou Malnati's. Funny story. When I first heard it, I thought they said Illuminati because they said a Lou Malnati's. So I was like, Illuminati pizza? What the hell is that? But I came to find out it's Lou Malnati's pizza. Yeah, so if you're just tuning in, come on, give a shout out. Don't be shy. Want to see where you're tuning in from. We've got some international partners today, law enforcement from across the world tuned in. So that's pretty cool. Good to see the reach of street cop training from everywhere. Texas, James, yes, this is being recorded. If you want a copy of this recording, reach out to info at Street Cop. They're the admin for it, so they'll be able to get it to you. And we'll go from there. But well, what part of Texas? I was supposed to have a class at DFW. Unfortunately, due to the price of flying and cost of living, we had to cancel it. But awesome to see Texas tuned in. DFW area. Okay, so if you were on the schedule for that class, I do apologize. It was scheduled for May 6th. We had to unfortunately cancel. I was excited to go down there. I have family in the Dallas area that I was gonna go and see. But yes, if you want this recording, please reach out, info@streetcop, and they will we'll see how it can get to you. All right, I'm just gonna step away for a few. We'll be back in a little bit. Again, if you guys are just tuning in, just to kill some time before we start in 3 minutes or so, just give a shout out where you're tuning in from. We got some international partners on this webinar today that have tuned in. So it's pretty cool to see where everyone's coming from. All right, I'm back. Let me just see here. Louisiana, Batesville, Arkansas, Vermont. Great state of Vermont. All right, we're gonna get started in about a minute. We got a bunch of people tuning on in last minute here, and we will get going. South Carolina, awesome. The better of the Carolinas, I say. Oh no, sorry if I've offended anyone from North Carolina with that statement. I use the same joke with the Dakotas. Okay, we are right on the mark almost. Again, this is being recorded. The question got asked a few minutes ago about obtaining a copy of this. Reach out to info@streetcop, and we'll see if we can work getting you a copy. All right, let's get rocking and rolling, everybody. So I'm just going to be minimizing the chat while I do this. I will maximize it when we get to the end. So I'm just doing that for my own good. Okay, everyone, welcome. So you're tuned in today, obviously, for about investigating and tracing cryptocurrencies. For those of you who do not know me, I am the resident instructor with Street Cop Training with the class Dark Web and Cybercrimes Investigations. I cover investigating and tracing cryptocurrencies in that class with a specific block that I have. And this is kind of pulled directly from my class, and I've made it to cram as much as I can into the 1 hour that we have together today. So the question I ask, can your department investigate cryptocurrency cases? Can they? I mean, it's pretty relative. Are the suspects using cryptocurrency in your town or city to facilitate criminal activity? And can you assist victims in your town or city that have fallen victim to cybercrime? And by that, I mean more than likely having to have sent cryptocurrency to a suspect or had cryptocurrency stolen from them. So the answer to all these questions is yes, and you will see why. I don't like to hammer these numbers because I think it all of a sudden becomes like, a jumble. But to understand, cybercrime is probably the biggest, fastest growing crime in the entire world. It's estimated that the global economy is impacted $2.9 million a minute due to cybercrime. This is what's known as the dark web minute. These are statistics that are accrued by a company that I'll be talking about later, Cyber6Skill. Every 39 seconds, in some way, shape, or form, a cyber attack occurs. You may have seen the snippets or videos of me espousing that via the Street Cop page, but it is true. In some way, shape, or form, twice a minute, some sort of cyber attack occurs around the world. 23% of Americans have had their credit card or financial information stolen or knows somebody who has. That was in 2019. So think of the population of America, 23%, almost a quarter of all of our country. 30% of all US customers were affected by data breaches in 2018. 30% of the people who shop online were affected by some sort of data breach, and that was 4 years ago. I shudder to think of what the numbers are now. I can't actually find them because they haven't been accrued for 2021 yet, but I assure you that those will be higher. And the economic cost of cybercrime in the United States is estimated between 57 billion and 109 billion for 2019. You will see the numbers for 2021 in a bit. And the estimated global loss, well, $6 trillion globally lost for 2020. Again, this could be much higher for 2021. It takes a while to accrue these numbers and actually hammer out the statistics. So here in the United States, the FBI runs the Internet Complaint Center. So you could see the metrics between 2019 and 2020 regarding what complaints were being input to that portal. They were up 69.4%. And now the numbers have been released for 2021. And this is just what has been reported through the IC3 portal. 6.9 billion. And we could see business email compromise, but look at the romance scams, confidence fraud, investment scams. These are real things that are impactful to people in your community. Whether or not they're reporting it to your police department, that's relative, but these are going on. So here in the United States, ransomware became a very scary word, especially after the Colonial East pipeline hack. Everyone became aware of what ransomware was, even though ransomware has been around since the 90s. It became something that started to be on the forefront of the news. It became a talking point. And we learned from that hack itself, I should say, or rather the ransomware, the proactive effort by the FBI to retrieve the crypto that was sent to the DarkSide ransomware group. Shortly thereafter, we had the Cassia ransomware attack. That was actually much, much bigger last summer. The impact of that is very wide stretched because Cassia was a software as a service company. A lot of companies used them for their IT. They outsourced through them. So again, by proxy, they were affected by this. And when we start to talk about crypto and global politics, right? For those of you who don't know what's going on in El Salvador, how El Salvador had this push for Bitcoin, it's very well reported on. I highly suggest that you read that. But more recently, in which this should raise a lot of red flags, is one of the poorest countries in the world, the Central African Republic, Bitcoin became an official currency. Now, as you will learn later, in order for Bitcoin to work, you need to have access to the internet. And the estimates of people that actually have access to the internet in the CAR are like less than 1% of people that have it in their house. So again, why all of a sudden this push? Well, when you look at it, they're very pro-Russia. So when you start to think of the sanctions that are currently going on with Russia, by proxy, money can be somehow filtered to them via these countries that began to accept them at their banks, but that's a separate statement in and of itself. And then are not too far from where one of our attendees in Curacao is tuned into, Saint Martin, not Saint Martin, that's the French side, but Saint Martin, the Dutch side, wants his entire salary paid in Bitcoin Cash. Now they espouse that Saint Martin is the Bitcoin Cash capital of the world. Again, these are things that are playing out. I want to say every week something new happens. So you have to be abreast to this stuff. This isn't stuff that you could just dismiss, think it's never going to have an impact on you or your police department. That is wrong. Okay. So why should I care about cryptocurrencies? Right? Well, you're tuned in today for a reason. I mean, I'm sure you just didn't tune in to hear me talk. You tuned in because you want to learn about cryptocurrencies, how you can investigate and how you can trace them. And the thought that, well, my PD can't investigate that stuff anyway, right? This is reserved for people that have a specific skill set. This is reserved for people that know about cybercrime, have the skill set to investigate cybercrime. My PD really doesn't handle that, right? We respond to calls. We're dealing with the murders, with the shootings, with the gangs. We're not really dealing with cybercrime. Well, it's kind of all interrelated, and you will see why. Let's get it out of the way. What is cryptocurrency? I'm sure some of you maybe have sold the farm to buy some, but do you really understand what cryptocurrency is? So it's a digital currency in which transactions are verified and records maintained by a decentralized system using cryptography rather than a centralized authority. Again, when we talk about decentralized, there is no sole person or thing that has governance over the blockchain with cryptocurrency. It's about, when we talk about Bitcoin, the mining pools, the conglomerate of miners, they sustain the blockchain. But something that is common, no matter what cryptocurrency that you are using, no matter what cryptocurrency you are fancy towards, the internet is essential. Okay, if you can't get on the internet, it is not possible to do transactions. It is not possible for the blockchain to verify transactions. If the power is out, you can't do any transactions. Okay. Now, this is actually not an easy question to answer. What gives money its value, right? It's a pretty deep question when you actually think about it. Money in general, when we talk about why the US dollar is worth a certain amount, there are things that come into play. The economy, certain things like inflation, how the dollar is leveraged against other foreign currencies, right? How the dollar is leveraged against the Japanese yen, how the dollar is leveraged against the euro. But there's a lot of factors that give money its actual value. Now, when I ask you, what is $20 worth here in the United States? Do you think of $20 being $20 in and of itself, $21 bills or two $10 bills or four $5 bills? Or do you think of $20 being worth what it can buy, right? How far can $20 get you? When we talk about gas prices, how much gas can you get with $20? You know, that fluctuates. My father, God rest his soul, one of the things he used to talk about was how cheap Coca-Cola was when he was a kid. He used to be able to buy Coca-Cola at the corner store for 5 cents, right? Now, how much is a can of Coca-Cola worth? So again, what gives money its value? Is it what you can buy with it? Think of it in this regard. Imagine winning the lottery, but you can't spend any of that money. So what good is it, right? Now, in the same context, how do you verify money as being real? And when I talk about money, I mean cash, right? When somebody gives you a $20 bill, a $100 bill, a $50 bill, or when you use a $20 bill, a $50 bill at a store or in some transaction, how do you verify the money is real? So, of course, here in the United States, there's certain security features, right? There are certain things that are put into our currency that authenticate it, that give it its veracity. So you know at face value that this is real currency. You can accept it. Now, granted, there are people that are very good counterfeiters, and I understand that, but there are certain things on this money that you believe to make it real. How do you translate that into something that doesn't exist in the physical world, that isn't tangible, like cryptocurrency? You need something like the blockchain. Are you confused? Well, it's okay if you're confused. We're going to try to hash this all out in the very short period of time we have together. So when you want to start an investigation, a very cold start, I should say, how do you know you need to be aware of what's going on in your towns? The number one thing I could say are Bitcoin ATMs. So if you go to coinatmradar.com, you can search by your address, and this isn't exclusive to the United States. You could search anywhere in the world. I live in Northwest Jersey, better known as Pencil Jersey. Take a look at what Bitcoin ATMs are close by my house. Now, BP is a gas station. Can you tell me why I would ever need to go to a gas station to buy Bitcoin? Can you give me a legitimate reason why I would need to go to a gas station to buy Bitcoin? Less than 10 miles away, I can go to CoinFlip, which is a very popular Bitcoin ATM. Can you explain why I would ever need to go to these Bitcoin ATMs? They come in all shapes and sizes. The new hybrid ones are coming out where basically you could do normal transactions through your banks and purchase Bitcoin that way. But for the most part, with these Bitcoin ATMs, there's some commonalities. Very few Bitcoin ATMs are cash out. Most are used to purchase Bitcoin, and some require you to download an app on your phone. Others simply need a wallet to send the address to. So when we start to talk about wallets, which I will explain later, some Bitcoin ATMs, when you purchase the Bitcoin, they need to know where to send the money, whether it's a wallet you have control over or whether it's a wallet that you are sending the Bitcoin to. The fees associated with this are very high, astronomically high fees. And there often isn't a high level of KYC, which is short for Know Your Customer compliance. Again, I asked this question, can you ever think of a legitimate reason that you would ever need to use a Bitcoin ATM besides being a victim of a scam or being somebody that's up to no good? So we all know about the elder fraud type scams, right? You get the call that your grandchild or somebody that you are close and near dear to is currently arrested. And in order for you to pay for their bail in the country to which they are arrested, you need to send the Bitcoin to the suspects. Now, for pure humor, I write the Bitcoins. You will never hear me use the word Bitcoin in a plural sense of Bitcoins. It is the same whether I send 1 Bitcoin or whether I sent 5 Bitcoin. There are some people who contest that. It really comes down to what you've been saying all along. You know, here in the United States, there's a band called 21 Pilots. There is a long running discussion of whether the band's name is spelled with the numbers 2, 1, and then pilots, or spelled out 21 Pilots, TWENTY. So for me, I have never, ever in any affidavit or any legal sense used the plural of Bitcoins or Moneros. I've always used Bitcoin, whether I sent 1 or whether I sent multiple. Just wanted to get that out of the way. Or what about romance scams, right? I have great news, fellas. I have not met this woman in person. I'm definitely leaving my wife for her. She reached out to me on Instagram. Unfortunately, she is currently without a passport in Sri Lanka, and I need to send her Bitcoin every week so she can get by and further her modeling career, right? So most of you know these as Nigerian 419 scams, right? Smishing, SMS fraud. These are the texts that you get that you have paid your bill on time and now you're eligible to get a PlayStation 5, right? You have to do certain things. Vishing, which is FaceTime intimacy phishing per se. This is what's also sometimes called the Nigerian princess scam, where they target men via dating app sites or something to that regard, get them to do something compromising while in a FaceTime or a live video chat, and then demand some Bitcoin or some other type of cryptocurrency, or they'll send the video out. Phishing is so common. Hey, somebody logged into your bank, the email got sent, it's not really from your bank, they want to get your credentials. Same thing that they do with the cryptocurrency exchanges. Then there's whaling, which is targeting specific people of higher stature, whether that's the CEO of a company or something to that regard. And then romance scams, like we just talked about, right? But a commonality with a lot of these is you have to utilize a Bitcoin ATM. FBI did actually wind up putting a lot of warning signs on these Bitcoin ATMs, like, you know, verify your transactions. The government will never ask you for money. But unfortunately, every single day, we have people falling victim. So these reports were actually coming out a while ago, I want to say 2019, about how Bitcoin ATMs could be used to launder money. This is more or less about the vulnerabilities, but the recent reporting from the United Nations Office on Drug and Crime, the International Narcotics Control Board, they say that the cartels, yes, the very scary Mexican cartels, are utilizing cryptocurrencies as a means to launder their drug money, specifically with incremented deposits of cash for Bitcoin and the transferring, also known for those of you who have worked money laundering cases, smurfing, people that are going to these Bitcoin ATMs at various locations and buying as much Bitcoin as they can with ill-gotten cash to launder it. So it is real. It does have an impact on your community. Despite what some people think by me espousing this does not make me anti-crypto in any way, shape, or form. I am very passionate about this. I'm very passionate about teaching it. So this is cryptocurrency, not for dummies, but for cops. Not sure which one is better than the other, but I want to get over what I'm not going to talk about in this webinar. I'm not going to talk about shit coins, okay? If you tuned in today to learn about some sort of investment strategy, want to learn about what the next big thing is, where you could buy it for 1/1,000,000th of a cent, it's going to go to $1, and you're going to go right to the moon. I'm sorry, crypto bros and moon boys, that's not what we're doing here today. If you want to know what a pump and dump is, it's very, very simple. It's easy to program your own cryptocurrency, especially on the Ethereum blockchain. You could go to YouTube. There's plenty of people who will teach you how to do it. The cryptocurrency that you are programming ain't worth crap. but with enough of the right supporters, with enough of the right cheerleaders who will go on their social media platforms and espouse to their followings that it's the next big thing, you can actually make a lot of money. It's the wild, wild west. Now, you might have heard of non-fungible tokens, CryptoKitties, the Bored Ape Yacht Club, OpenSea. I'm not going to be talking about that stuff. I'm going to be talking about Ethereum in the concept of ERC20, and I'm going to be talking about Bitcoin and Monero, specifically the UTXO, which stands for Unspent Transactional Output Coins. And there's a reason why I'm dealing with these three. You don't have to understand the programming of these cryptocurrencies in order to be able to investigate them. Get that through your head right now. If you get a little bit confused about what I'm saying, and especially since I'm cramming a lot within an hour to you, courses that you could take that are a week long, 2 weeks long, a month long to actually learn about the intricacies of how these coins work on a fundamental level, don't be discouraged. You don't have to understand the programming in order to being able to investigate them. So if you look like confused Mark Wahlberg or confused John Cena while I'm going on, don't worry. I'm going to leave a good portion for Q&A at the end where I hopefully will hash out anything that you are confused about. So who am I, right? Well, this is me. I am a detective with the municipal police department here in New Jersey. I've been in law enforcement for over 15 years. From 2014 to 2018, I was assigned to the Federal Bureau of Investigation Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, where I was dealing with bad guys on the dark web, with child pornography trading, so on and so forth. From 2018 to last year, I was a task force officer with the Drug Enforcement Administration, focusing on darknet markets, drugs procured on the dark web, things of that nature. I am a 3CE and a 3CI through the National White Collar Crime Center here in the United States. I'm a CCI, a certified crypto investigator through the Blockchain Intelligence Group, and a certified crypto forensic investigator, CCFI, through the McAfee Institute. I was a presenter at the 2020 Joint Criminal Opioid Darknet Enforcement Conference under the auspices of the FBI on Android emulation. I am recognized as a subject matter expert by the CSIAC, HDIAC, and I am a member of the High Tech Crime Investigators Association here with the Northeast chapter. I'm a so this is something I'll talk about later. I'm the founder of the Ubivis project, StopDarkWebDrugs.com, and I am a member of the New York, New Jersey, United States Secret Service Cyber Fraud Task Force. I am a published author with the FBI Law Enforcement Bulletin. I put this article out about 2 years ago now. This is me being recognized by the CSIAC, Voice in the Community, part of the Subject Matter Expert Network. I've received awards and accolades for a lot of darknet market, not darknet market, but darknet related investigations. One that has a lot of traction was Operation Pacifier Playpen. You can look on Vice News for all the details about that, since they claim it was the FBI's biggest hacking campaign. Not true at all. You could talk to me offline about that. When I went over to the DEA, I was part of the J-Code coordinated takedowns, Operation Saboteur, Operation Disruptor. Last year, they had Operation Dark Hunter. I don't know what the name of it's going to be this year, but I guarantee you it's going to have something to do with Tor, right? Seized a lot of money. That is about, I want to say 2 million cash. Seized a lot of drugs. That's all kilos of cocaine, 5 kilos of heroin, 2 kilos of pure fentanyl, all from the same bust. Won a lot of awards. There's SCT instructor Tom Rizzo, getting a little too handsy with the Colonel of State Police in this picture. But this is my most important slide. This is my new shitcoin, KevCoin. After today, you too can buy KevCoin. It's going to take you right to the moon. I'm only going to accept it if you're going to be paying for my class, right? No, KevCoin does not exist, but I guarantee you if it did and you guys thought you could make money from it, you would buy it. Nobody cares. Nobody cares, okay? You're not here to hear about my accolades. You're not here to learn how great I am. You're here to learn about some crypto. So let's get into it. According to Coin Market Cap, as of this morning, there's 19,509 cryptos. These are their own cryptocurrencies. They don't exist on their own blockchains, but that's how much cryptocurrencies out there. That number continues to rise. So when we talk about investigating and tracing cryptocurrencies, again, we're going to be talking about 3 of the main currencies utilized in cybercrime. And that's going to be Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Monero. So let's get into Bitcoin. I'm sure some of you have heard about it. You know what it is. It's a cryptocurrency invented in 2008 by an unknown person or group of people using the name Satoshi Nakamoto, and started in 2009 when its implementation was released as open source software. Bitcoins are created as a reward for a process known as mining. It's based on blockchain technology. The veracity is public ledger. The blockchain is public ledger, okay? You can view the blockchain. It is immutable. It cannot be deceived. I mean, there are attacks certainly that could happen on it, but as it exists, every transaction that's ever taken place involving Bitcoin has to be posted on the blockchain. We talk about volatility and relevance to how much money it's worth. Look at how much it was worth in January of 2021. November 4th, it peaked, or before that, it kind of peaked a little bit higher. And now we're down to close to where it was last winter, early 2021. It's the most popular of cryptocurrencies due to its value, and it's the preferred method of payment on darknet markets. There's kind of been a paradigm shift for a lot of people wanting to stay away from it, but because it's so easy to get, because it's so easy to use, it's user friendly. It's very, very well known. There's a lot of exchanges. There's a lot of Bitcoin ATMs you could go to. There's so many places you can go to buy Bitcoin. Now, I understand you're probably sitting there going, well, Kevin, if Bitcoin has public ledger, it's very easy to trace this stuff out. Why do criminals want to use it? I'll talk about those techniques. Bitcoin wallets are between 25 to 36 alphanumeric characters, and they will always begin with a 1-3 or BC1. That's known as a Beach 32 wallet. That is an example wallet right there. 3LF3, P, blah, 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 blah. If I were to see that, I know immediately that I'm dealing with Bitcoin. So there's popular techniques for obfuscating the transaction. Those are mixing and tumbling services. I'll talk about a few. Chain hopping, imagine trading this Bitcoin for a different cryptocurrency, leaving the blockchain of Bitcoin for another blockchain of cryptocurrency, and then selling that cryptocurrency to come back to the Bitcoin blockchain. You have hopped the chain. You have hopped the blockchain. That's called chain hopping. One of the biggest indicators, and if you start to look at this from a forensic aspect, buying Bitcoin from a legitimate exchange like Coinbase, like Crypto.com, one of the exchanges that you probably have on your phone, and then transferring it to an outside wallet or non-US based exchange. Why would somebody be doing that? That's the only question I ask of you. Why would somebody be doing that? There's crypto bros and moon boys that sit on the Facebook page and go, well, they want to have it in their own wallet in case something gets hacked. Okay, fine. That is not normal. It's not normal behavior. I'm sorry, it is not normal. I've been in law enforcement long enough to tell you that it is not normal behavior. Okay. And then cashing out at Bitcoin ATMs or local Bitcoins versus cashing out on an exchange. That is something that's a red flag too. Why are you going to a Bitcoin ATM? Why are you going to local Bitcoins to cash out your Bitcoin versus using an exchange other than trying to circumvent creating a suspicious activity report, right? Chip Mixer is a coin mixer. You could go there readily. It's not a site on the dark web. You could go there after this webinar if you want to start mixing your coins. The cryptocurrency darknet mixer, Bitfog, that was taken, Bitcoin Fog, I should say, very successful. That was around since 2011. It got taken down last year. Okay, so 2011 to 2021, 10 years of business for Bitcoin Fog. Look at the amount of moved over 1.2 million Bitcoin, valued at approximately 335 million. Made a lot of money through these mixers. The U.S. Department of Treasury sanctioned the Bitcoin mixer, Blender.io. Again, you do not have to have a darknet browser to go to these mixers. So there was a recent story last month about Mr. Ian Freeman of New Hampshire regarding illegal Bitcoin exchanges. I'm not going to get into that, but definitely look into it if you're interested in the criminal activity associated with Bitcoin ATMs, Bitcoin exchanges that are not legitimate. It's a very interesting case. You might have people that are on both sides of the fence about it that will be reporting. But if you are just solely interested in the case itself, I highly recommend looking into that. This is something that's a bit abstract, right? When we talk about wallets, there is never any Bitcoin in your wallet. There isn't. When you have a wallet, basically what happens is the blockchain associates a certain amount of Bitcoin with your wallet, but there is actual no Bitcoin in your wallet because if you're not on the blockchain, you can't do transactions. You have to be online. That's a bit of an abstract thought, but again, you have to have the internet in order for the transactions to take place. So when I talk about Bitcoin wallets, as you're going to see in a bit, there never is any Bitcoin in your wallet, okay? There's Bitcoin that's associated with your wallet on the blockchain, but when we talk about hard wallets or offline wallets, the Bitcoin is not there, okay? It's on the blockchain. It's just reserved for you. So you'll hear about Sedgwick and Beach 32 wallets, specifically the BC1 type wallets. We'll break that down. So in I apologize, November of 2021, there was a change in the way that the blockchain worked, specifically with Bitcoin about taprooting. So PTTR, that's pay to taproot, that's Beach 32M wallets. Those are BC1P. Then there's Sedgwick, which are pay to witness key hash, T2WPKH. Whew, those are normal Beach 32 wallets. Those are BC1Q. There's legacy Sedgwick wallets, which are pay to script hash, or again, pay to witness key hash. Those begin with a 3. And then there's the traditional legacy wallets, which are pay to public key hash, and those will begin with 1. Don't worry about this. There's not a quiz at the end. Just understand why the Bitcoin wallets have the prefixes that they do. So you can search any type of wallet that you want in transactional hash on the blockchain by going to blockchain.com, and you can see transactions associated with it. You'll see a transaction of money receiving, money sending, and what change there was, so on and so forth. Another site that I really like is TradeBlock, and it's mainly for the representation of how the visuals, right? How they break it down. You could go to either or, it's going to be the same results depending on what wallet address you put in, but you can see the transactions. You can also see all the different exchanges, how much liquidity is there, so on and so forth. So some cool wallet addresses that you might want to search after this. The Genesis wallet, the first wallet to ever transact on the Bitcoin blockchain. They believe that this is the wallet of the mysterious Satoshi Nakamoto. You can search that wallet on the blockchain and see all its activity. That was the first wallet that really ever existed. And then there's the free Ross Ulbricht fund. There's 2 wallet addresses associated with that. If you don't know who Ross Ulbricht is, he is the pioneer of the Silk Road, currently serving life sentence plus 40 years. If you don't believe he should be in prison, I really want you to reach out to me offline and we can have a great discussion about why you are wrong. So let's create your own Bitcoin wallet, right? Just go to bitaddress.org and start creating your wallet. You're going to create a wallet in seconds. And now you're going to have a Bitcoin wallet right then and there. Okay, so you see that there's a public key, which is the one that you share. And then there's a private key, which is what you use to retrieve the funds that get sent to your wallet. Okay, this is just one I created. This is not my actual wallet address, but you can do whatever you want. Once you create the wallet, I highly recommend going to Bitfaucet. So Bitcoin faucets, they've been around for a while. A lot of them gone offline, kind of become like gambling sites. But this is where you could test the transactions with your wallet. You can send a very, very minimal amount of Bitcoin to your wallet address, and it will post on the blockchain, which is pretty cool. So now you can see in real time how the blockchain works. Now, the smaller the amount of Bitcoin in a transaction, the longer it takes to post, because it's prioritized by the amount that needs to be processed. So the more money you send, quintessentially, the quicker it takes, but you will be able to see that transaction on the blockchain. Now, when we talk about wallets, there's software wallets you can have on your phone, like Electrum, Konami, and then there's MetaMask, just things to be cognizant of. Same thing with these hardware wallets that have kind of gone, I want to say, off by the wayside. They're not as popular as they once were since the software wallets were around, but these are the different types of wallets that exist. The most important component to reporting any type of cryptocurrency case, specifically with Bitcoin, is to be as detailed as possible, specifically with the wallet addresses. Without this information, an investigation can be impossible. So if you take a look at this type of report here, I think this is a great report done. You have a lot of stuff that's documented here that I can search versus a report like this, in my opinion. Not as much here. That's not to say that the officer didn't know how to take this report, but maybe that information wasn't available at the time. I don't know. But obviously, as you can see, there's a lot less for me to be able to investigate if I were to get this case thrown in my lap. So you want those wallet addresses, transaction hashes, receipts from the Bitcoin ATMs. So if you are United States law enforcement, you will have access to the law enforcement enterprise portal. You have to request an account. It's at cgis.gov. Once you have access there, you can actually search the IC3 backend, where you can search Bitcoin wallet addresses that might have been reported to IC3. This will only work for things that have been reported to IC3. It won't search any other databases but the IC3 database. If you were sworn law enforcement and you have access to the El Paso Intelligence Center, you could request access to DICE 2.0, which is run by the DEA, where you can actually search virtual currency numbers, whether that's transactional hashes or wallet addresses that might have a nexus to drugs, and see if there's any type of activity on them if it's previously been reported through DICE. So that's pretty cool too. And there are programs out there that will assist you in tracing and investigating the cryptocurrency itself. I'm very preferential to CipherTrace. I'm not saying CipherTrace is the best. This isn't me demoing CipherTrace for you, but I could show you why I love CipherTrace. So this is an example of a darknet market seizure from a while ago, where CipherTrace was able to determine that the money went to a wallet affiliated with an exchange that is Know Your Customer compliant. Terrorism cases, please do not scan that QR code. They have an access to Bitcoin. There is a lot of people that are financing terrorism through cryptocurrency, so you need to be abreast to that. What's great is that statement at the bottom: Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency that cannot be traced. Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure you can, because here is an example of somebody financing terrorism, where the money was deposited from, sent to, how they tried to obfuscate it with some techniques, and eventually where the money went. You need to focus on the exchanges. Okay, this is where your suspect cashes out. Don't focus on the transactions. Those could be a rabbit hole in and of themselves. Eventually, when you see the money, or rather I say the cryptocurrency, going to an exchange where it gets converted into money, that's where you want to focus. So when we talk about CipherTrace, this is a real case that I assisted with, somebody that was exploited, okay? They were told to send a certain amount of money to that BC1 QZ address. We all know BC1, Beach 32 address, so on and so forth. Dump that into CipherTrace. I see the activity associated on that. The current balance is 0 Bitcoin, and I see when the money was withdrawn. I focus on that, and I'm able to determine that the money was withdrawn and eventually was exposed by going to a Binance account. So if I serve legal notice to Binance, I could get a good response. Even though they're based not in the United States, they will respond to legal notice from the United States. I request a specific amount, I request a specific wallet address, a transaction, maybe associated amount as well. And boom, I get a response. And right off the bat, I could tell you that this suspect is more than likely in Nigeria, okay? Not here in the United States. That doesn't mean that's where this case ends. There could be a nexus to other cases that could rise to the level of maybe the Nigerian authorities charging this person, since they are breaking the law in their country as well, or maybe an indictment from the United States Attorney's Office. So just understand that this isn't the end of the case at all. So now let's get into Ethereum. Ethereum is kind of interesting, and I'm not going to spend as much time on this as I should, but I want you to understand something. The native currency of Ethereum is Ether. Okay, it's not Ethereum. Ethereum is the platform. It's decentralized open source blockchain featuring smart contract functionality. Ether is the native cryptocurrency of the platform. It's the second largest cryptocurrency by market capitalization, after Bitcoin, obviously. It's the most actively used blockchain in the world. There's multiple purposes, specifically when we start to talk about NFTs, that the Ethereum blockchain is used for, and a lot of the newer cryptocurrencies coming out exist on the Ethereum blockchain. You want to talk about volatility? Well, there it is. I mean, I'm not going to hammer the numbers there. ERC20, which stands for Ethereum Request for Comment. This is the normal transactions, the contracts that take place on the Ethereum network. You can search Ethereum wallet addresses the same way that you can search Bitcoin wallet addresses. But I want you to get it in your mind that Ethereum is more of a contract, whereas Ether, if we're talking about a traditional transaction, is the denominations outlined in the contract. I'm buying something for X amount of Ether. That's on the contract. That's on the Ethereum ERC20, okay? CipherTrace, again, offers tracing capabilities. What doesn't change is that the wallets are 42 alphanumeric characters and will always begin with a 0x. If you see a 0x, you're dealing with Ethereum. It doesn't matter what type of cryptocurrency it is. like if it's a Decentraland type coin or something to that effect that's programmed on the Ethereum network, you will always see the 0x. You could go to blockchain.com and search it the same way you did for Bitcoin, but you can also go to etherscan.io and you can actually see what's outlined in the specific transaction itself. That's pretty cool. So it's breaking down this contract, right? That's actually really cool. And you don't have to pay for Etherscan, it's free. So that's something to consider when you start to talk about Ethereum. Now we're going to get into Monero. I'm sure some of you have heard of it. No, it is not the Spanish word for money. It is its own privacy coin, okay? It is not an anonymous coin. It's an anonymity enhanced coin. Nothing can be anonymous when you're talking about a public ledger, okay? There are techniques to obfuscate those transactions, but that does not mean it's anonymous. So it's a privacy-focused cryptocurrency released in 2014. I don't want to hammer you about this, but crypto note, it's ring authentication. The transactional information is hidden. When we talk about darknet markets, the first one really to do it was Libertas. They say we're only going to be accepting Monero. They switched over to I2P2, which subsequently was their downfall. But regardless, the least user-friendly of the cryptocurrencies I'm talking about here, the three that we just discussed, most exchanges do not allow you to transact with Monero. Kraken is one of the few tier 1 exchanges. Not much volatility. I mean, it went up $40, but Kraken is where you're more than likely going to see suspects here in the United States buying Monero. Then there's something that's called Cake Wallet. So these are wallets that you can actually link multiple cryptocurrencies to. Cake Wallet specifically with Monero. It offers Monero support. So more than likely, you're going to have a suspect here in the United States. If they're doing Monero, they either got it from Kraken or they got it from somewhere else and used the Cake Wallet. So there are 95 alphanumeric characters when you're talking about wallet addresses, and they will always begin with a 4. Holy crap, look at that string of shit. When we talk about ring authentication, I want to really break down how this works with Monero. So to understand, when we talk about contracts, imagine co-signing on a contract that you have no idea what's on that contract, or better yet, a pool of signers that have to co-sign for the contract to be valid. And you have no idea who they are. They don't know who you are. They don't know what's outlined in that contract. And the person who's receiving this money, the person on the other end of the contract, doesn't know who these signers are. They can only see the money that's coming to them. Well, that should boggle your mind. This was protocol that was implemented in the entire blockchain of Monero in 2017. Before that, it did not have this protocol built in place. You had to select it. So in order for there to be a transaction, there has to be decoy signers for the transaction. Does that confuse you? Well, it's going to get worse, okay? It's composed of the actual signer who is then combined with the non-signers to form the ring. The actual signers and non-signers of the ring are considered to be equal and valid. The actual signer is a one-time spend key that corresponds with an output being sent to the sender's wallet. Whew! Listen, you don't got to understand the programming to understand you can investigate it, okay? Let that get hammered into your head. If you look like confused Nick Young here, don't worry. What happens when you actually search Monero wallets? You're probably going to get a response like this. Okay, you can't search Monero wallets. You can't. It's not possible. But you can search the transactions as, or rather the blocks as they post on the Monero blockchain. So that's interesting. So as the blocks and the height increases on the blockchain, you can actually search those blocks. Now you see up here Coinbase transaction. That's not the Coinbase exchange. Okay, Coinbase does not accept Monero, but you see these transactions that exist in the block. There's 20 transactions that exist in the block. Okay, so there has to be some sort of governance on this. It can't be completely anonymous. When we talk about Coinbase, that's a block reward, Monero example, Bitcoin example. So again, this is really with UTXO type coins, unspent transaction output coins. Same thing with Bitcoin, with Monero. There isn't money in your wallet. There's money that's reserved for your wallet, okay? So Coinbase named themselves after a functionality of the blockchain. Very, very smart on Coinbase behalf. There's a guy that exists on Twitter. His name is Don't Trace Me, bruh. He is the biggest promoter of Monero out there. This guy loves Monero, loves Monero. You will find nobody who loves Monero more than this guy, okay? But the transactions have been increasing on the Monero blockchain. When you look at the metrics here, the numbers go up, the numbers go down, so on and so forth. When we talk about illicit activity, we see more ransomware groups wanting Monero versus Bitcoin, especially after they saw what happened with the ransomware retrieval, ransomware dark side payment that was retrieved by the FBI last year. So again, it's only going to go higher. Don't be afraid of Monero, okay? And guess what? Monerica, oh, look this up. This is great. Just look up Monerica, you'll have a good laugh, okay? So something I want you to do, just Google Monero wallet generator, create your own Monero wallet. It's pretty simple. It's very straightforward. You'll create your own offline wallet. And then you can go to a Monero faucet at cryptoxmr.net. Same thing as the Bitcoin faucet. Create your own Monero wallet and then send some Monero to it. You'll send a minimal amount of Monero to it, and it'll eventually post on the Monero blockchain, which you can search XMRnet, so on and so forth. But what's great is that CipherTrace offers Monero tracing capabilities. When I talked about the first time you transact on the Monero network, you become part of the decoy signing pool. So if you create an offline Monero wallet, unless you send Monero to that wallet, you don't have any presence on the Monero network. Once you send any type of Monero to that wallet, you're now become part of the decoy signing pool. Your signature becomes part of the decoy signing pool. The way Monero is broken down for tracing capabilities, it's very complex, but to understand, there's what's called cryptographic primitives. Specifically, what Monero focuses on is the Peterson commitment. And long story short, based on your activity on the Monero network, they're able to trace it back to the initial transaction of when your wallet or your spend key was introduced onto the Monero blockchain. That's pretty cool, okay? So if we're looking backwards in this upper left corner up here, that's the first time that wallet, or that's the first time that the presence of Monero with that wallet was detected on Monero blockchain. More than likely, you will never have to trace Monero, I promise you. You probably, in your investigations, you're gonna be dealing with Ethereum and Bitcoin. But that's something to understand because you want to focus on the exchanges, not the transactions. Kraken is know your customer compliant. Kraken is based in the United States. They will respond to subpoenas. They know when somebody has purchased XMR Monero, and they know when somebody's cashing out Monero. So understand that, okay? Coinbase, I love Coinbase. Coinbase is extremely law enforcement friendly. Global Dot Investigations at Coinbase, they will help you. They will work with you. They will tell you also what, oh, I apologize there. They will tell you what wallets you might want to look at. But the future looks grim. Unfortunately, there's this thing now called DeFi, decentralized finance, as well as these things called atomic swaps, specifically with Monero Bitcoin. Talk about chain hopping, chain swaps. Monero swap on the dark web. This exists where you can swap your Monero for Bitcoin. If you want to get a little adventurous, maybe send some Monero from the Monero faucet to your wallet you just created, and then send, you could do the reverse here of sending the XMR to buy Bitcoin or to buy XMR with Bitcoin. Pretty fun to do. Again, decentralized finance, right? Ethereum, Monero swaps. It's only going to get worse. This is a dark website that exists, Kilos. Kilos runs Camel, which is the Kilos anti-money laundering initiative. Again, about chain hopping with Bitcoin, Litecoin, Monero, so on and so forth. So when we talk about DeFi, it's just something to be aware of. Ripen with scams, ripen with people losing money. These are basically exchanges that are decentralized. There's no governance to these exchanges. It's basically everyone's on their Scout's honor when they do this stuff. And we see massive amounts of fraud, massive amounts of coin being stolen. The most popular one is Uniswap. Just Google Uniswap, check it out if you just want some familiarity to it. So with traditional money laundering, it's no different than with crypto. It's money in and money out, right? As soon as it's used, as soon as that crypto is purchased, it's going to be sold. If the crypto is sent to the wallet, it's immediately going to be removed from the wallet. Market volatility plays a very big factor in this. You could quintessentially lose money in a matter of hours. So this is an example of a target that was a fintech employee in the California area, Northern California area. He was paid by the cartels to launder money through Coinbase. All this target did was create a Coinbase account and link two bank accounts controlled by the cartels to that Coinbase account. He would be instructed to buy Bitcoin from one of the bank accounts, immediately sell it, and transfer the proceeds to the other account. In total, at the time, he had laundered over $8 million. That's based on what the price of Bitcoin was then. I believe if it were more current, the price would be closer to $20,000. $20 million, I'm sorry. He was instructed to take screen captures. So again, immediately buys a Bitcoin and then immediately sells it. And that's all he had to do. And he didn't raise any red flags because he was making good money as it was. He was not going to alert any SARS. He's not going to alert anything like that because this person was actually clearing $150,000 just working his regular job. So again, this is something to be cognizant of. Are you confused? It's okay if you are. Do you have a case involving crypto? Well, don't panic, because I know if it's free, it's for me, right? The NCIJTF, the National Cyber Investigative Joint Task Force, which sits down in DC, they have the virtual currency team. For our United States partners, this is exclusive to us. If you have a case that involves crypto, all you have to do is fill out that VCT intake form, which I will provide you from. Just reach out to me via email at my StreetCop email, and I will send it to you. They will do analysis. They will do reporting that you can use in court and affidavits. They will provide you with graphing. And if you're intimidated by crypto, this is really going to intimidate you. This is a darknet market vendor account that I had worked, so I can articulate what I'm looking at in court. If you can't, don't worry. They will come up allegedly and testify for you. I've never had to do that. If you do send a VCT request, you're probably going to be in contact with Kevin Crum. Be sure to tell him that I sent you. Then there's these other deconfliction systems, intelligence systems that exist where you can search cryptocurrencies. We already talked about DICE, Case Explorer, the National Drug Pointer Index, that's run under the High Intensity Drug Trafficking Area Intelligence. And then you have the LE vetted databases like RiskNet, Leap, etc. So there's other platforms out there to search. One of the platforms that's also free if you're in law enforcement is the Hades platform, which is brought to you by the Anti-Human Trafficking Intelligence Initiative. You could go there by going to followmoneyfightslavery.org, and you can request access to Hades. Hades is great. The person who runs the Anti-Human Trafficking Intelligence Initiative, Larry Cameron, he is a phenomenal person. He will work with you if you want access, and you can search cryptocurrency addresses that have been previously indexed from the dark web, another platform. So that's pretty cool. Also, Cyber6Kill, a company that I worked with very closely, you can search their platform for a presence of a wallet as well. And we can see that this wallet that I specifically searched had a presence on a Telegram group associated with some fraud. So that's pretty cool. If you're interested in Cyber6Kill's platform, please reach out to me after the webinar. I will put you in touch with the representative. So what I ask of you now, for some shameless self-plugging, if you are able to, please scan this QR code. It's not going to infect your phone. I'm not going to steal all your shit coins from your crypto wallets if you have any, but this is going to bring you to my website, the Ubivis project. This is something that I launched back in October of 2021. You can go to ubivisproject.org or stopdarkwebdrugs.com. Pretty much what this is set up for is this is to assist you in any type of darknet investigation. If you have a moniker name, if you have a cryptocurrency address, I run this. It all goes to me. Nobody else. This is solely me. The project is me, okay? You can report activity, whether you want to report anonymously as a civilian or you want to report in law enforcement. I require more contact information if you are in law enforcement. I don't retain IP addresses because I don't have the ability to do that. But I will make sure that your case is looked at by federal partners. I promise you that. Most of these dark web cases do have a nexus to other states. So you already have the threshold met for federal charging. In as much, when you report something that has something to do with an overdose, I have this overdose map that's there as part of the overdose crisis. I want to put the vendors associated with the reported overdose, help populate it on the map that anyone could see it, maybe deter people from buying from them, since we all know dead people can't leave negative reviews, right? Also have help for those who are struggling with substance abuse. So this is something that we are developing. When I say we, I mean me and the developers. This is going to be a searchable backend, which will be offered as a service via the Law Enforcement Enterprise Portal. So if you have a Leap account, start holding your breath now. We're trying to get this out relatively soon, where anything that is reported via the Ubivis project portal can be searched. So if you want to search for a moniker name, you want to search for something, you can readily search it on the back end. Your search will also be part of a query. So if you search something and there's nothing that popped, if somebody searches the same thing a few months later, they will see that you have searched it, put you guys in touch. We're also developing some free software to use for law enforcement with Tor. That's kind of on the hush hush right now. I just let the cat out of the bag so you can reach out to me. You took this job to help people. Don't forget that. When you tell the victim of the cryptocurrency scam that you can't help them, you are not helping them. Okay, when you tell them that there's nothing you can do, when you give them the easy answer that you just don't want to do the work, you're not helping people. You took the job to help people. Okay, just because you don't understand crypto doesn't mean that you can't help them. So this is my contact information: Kevin Hendricks at streetcop.com and Kevin Hendricks at the ubivisproject.org. And that is the number for the Ubivis Project: 808-217-8660. That goes directly to me. I ask, text me, don't call me on it. If you call me on it, it kind of takes a while for me to connect to you. So just text me, I'll respond to you, I promise. And with that being said, we are at the end. So let me get into this chat right here. If you guys had any questions about it, and I'm sure some of you probably did, just shoot off what you can. I left 10 minutes at the end to try to help out if there were some questions that you might have had that I can hash out right now. So be sure it's to hosts and panelists and shoot your chats here. Questions here. Or if you want to tell me that my webinar sucked, I hope I don't get a negative review. I know it's Friday, so hopefully it's not too much of a burden for you guys to stick around for another 8 minutes. Regarding the programs that I used, right, CipherTrace, it is relatively, in my opinion, worthwhile for a local department or a department to invest in it. If you have the budget for it, I highly recommend doing it. You can check out to see if you have Bitcoin ATMs near you in your town. I guarantee you that you do. I guarantee you they're probably in some unsavory areas. You have this going on. When you talk about money to allocate to certain things, you know, this is really the future. The licensing for these programs, they're kind of not cheap, but in the same regard, you're going to get a lot more use out of them. I promise you that. If you don't have a case that has a nexus to cryptocurrency yet, you will. Won't transactions laundering show up on a 1099 form for tax purposes? That is actually a great question, Tyler. That's if they're going to a legitimate exchange. I know that the IRS kind of shocked some people when they asked for drug dealers to disclose their drug dealing on their tax forms. If people are cashing out their crypto in ways that mitigate, your customer compliant exchanges, no, they won't. It really has to hit a financial institution here in the United States for it to generate some sort of traction. It has to, and that would be the cash itself, right? So it's something that you have to be cognizant of, that this is just another medium that people have been using to launder money for a while, but it's now the techniques that they're using have gotten more sophisticated. All right, let me just see. Regarding a Bitcoin ATM, which I have in my town, be the best way to start investigating, look at possible criminal activity in the area. One of the things I say is good old-fashioned police work. Maybe if it's a bodega where you know the owner, right? Maybe ask the owner, hey, who uses this ATM? Sometimes the wallets of the ATMs, they aren't static. So that's something like, if you know the ATM's wallet, that isn't also very helpful sometimes, because if there's services that exist, like Coin Depot or something like that, it might not be the same wallet address every time for that Bitcoin ATM on the transaction history. So that's something to be aware of. A lot of them do actually have like video type things like a regular ATM. So, you can issue them, if you have reason to, you could issue them a subpoena to compel transaction history. Do the ATMs specific on the, okay, yeah, I think I just answered that, Jeremiah. It depends. I have seen Bitcoin ATMs where it's a different wallet address each time. They are attributed to some sort of service like Bitcoin Depot or coin flip or something like that, but it's not the actual same wallet every time. So when somebody buys Bitcoin at the ATM, it won't show up as the same wallet when that Bitcoin is purchased. And specifically, a lot of them require an address to send that wallet to. So a commonality would be if I'm financing terrorism and there's a specific wallet that is known to be a wallet affiliated with some sort of terrorist activity, if you see that there is a lot of money going from a Bitcoin ATM, like Bitcoin Depot or something like that, to that wallet, Bitcoin Depot actually is know your customer compliant, anti-money laundering compliant, so they might follow their own suspicious activity in and of itself. But if you do see that, and again, associating it with quote unquote good old fashioned police work, you can determine likely who that user might be. If you subpoena that Bitcoin ATM, might see some video, might see some ID that's associated with it. Is there any commonality that refers to crypto being used? For example, can I examine a chat or a record phone call? Well, I would say if crypto is being used, there has to be some sort of wallet, right? Somebody would have to, I guess, communicate their wallet address, I would say, right? You would know that, hey, this BC1 wallet or this 3 or this string of characters is associated as a wallet. That would be my guess. If a phone record toll, so if you have mobile IP sessions or something further along the line like that, like global packet radio service, GPRS sessions, something that you've already issued a search warrant, you can see when the apps are being used. If it's touching the data network, like the LTE or the 5G network, you can actually see if those apps are being used. So if that person has a Coinbase app on their phone, or if that person has a app like Electrum, the wallet on their phone, it actually requires data to be used since you need the internet for it to work. So that might be one example. For in a chat, I would say, if you have a WhatsApp chat or something to that regard, you would see maybe the QR code for a wallet being sent, or you would see the actual wallet address itself being sent. Oh, I apologize. Somebody hit me up in the Q&A. I apologize right now. Lewis, if you can hear me, I am sorry. I just saw this right now. Do you think that your organization will facilitate? I work in many small departments. Yes, so that's why the VCT exists. That is why the VCT exists. The virtual currency team exists to assist you. Again, one of the things I always tell people is don't be afraid to write the subpoenas. Don't be afraid to apply for the search warrants. Don't be afraid to really do the work in that sense. I mean, one of the jokes I've always said is you're not paying for the ink or the paper, right, to serve these people. So, I would say just work it as much as you can. The federal partners are always there. That's something important to understand. The federal partners like the United States Secret Service, Homeland Security Investigations, FBI, they're always there. And anytime you have the use of the internet, that rises to the level of what's called interstate commerce. So by default, anything really that touches the internet does have a nexus federally. Again, I could hope that would assist you, Lewis, if you do have a case that involving, something that had a good amount of crypto or money lost. First steps to take when a victim is being blackmailed to send Bitcoin to someone. Get the wallet address. This is something important. The victim needs to be sent the wallet address because they need to know where to send the Bitcoin. So please get the wallet address. That's important. Another thing I always recommend is fill out the IC3 complaint on behalf of the victim. I've done it before. It's not too hard to do. Just articulate in there that you are a law enforcement official reporting on behalf of that victim. Because, like I said, we can search IC3 and we can correlate these types of cases together. Cash App return, yes, you can. So what's interesting about Square, what's interesting about, this incorporation of Bitcoin payments, these are really like they're outsourcing it to third parties to facilitate the transactions. Yes, you can. You can retrieve a Bitcoin wallet address from a Cash App return. 100% you can. But that's not to say Cash App or Square can let you know whose wallet that is. I mean, that might require you to do something further. Maybe it's attributed to another service that they linked to their Square account. For those of you who don't know, a lot of these apps that link to bank accounts and link to other services, they're actually done by a third party. One of the ones that I can think of offhand is a company known as Plaid. They're the ones that link your Venmo accounts to your bank accounts. So there's a third party that's involved, usually with the linking of cryptocurrency exchanges to those accounts. Okay. I really appreciate that question, Monica. That was a great question because that is on the rise, these payment apps. I really hope you guys got a lot out of this. Again, there is a lot to be covered in cryptocurrency that I tried to smash as hard as I could down your throat in the 1 hour that we had together. Please reach out to me via email. I promise you I don't bite. If it's something urgent, please call that 808 number. That will go directly to me, or text it first. I will respond via text. I promise you that. And thank you very much, guys. I hope that this was great for you. If you want that VCT reporting form, again, reach out to me via email. I will send it to you. Thanks so much. I hope this was everything you dreamed of and more. Have a great weekend, everybody. Phil, my man, thanks for sticking around.